everyone, it's Jack and Sam from Cultaholic.com, and it's time for a lovely news update. Adam's away, Tom's lost his voice, but I'm here and we're going to talk about some bloody wonderful wrestling news from just a variety of promotions. It's going to be great, isn't it, Sam?
Oh, it's going to be so sexy.
I love sexy news. Right, let's sex this up. Oh my god. Matt Hardy has confirmed that he is indeed in talks with AEW, but hasn't ruled out other promotions. The next WWE appearance of Edge has been confirmed as well. And finally, a brand new match has been added to this Sunday's Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. So, first of all, yes, let's talk about Matt Hardy, who was speaking about his future in wrestling to Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated. Now, before we read this quote, obviously there's been lots of speculation that Matt Hardy is going to join AEW,
yes,
possibly as the leader of the Dark Order, as the Exalted One, which I think would be a perfect fit for him.
I think it'd be perfect. My only concern would be that because he's so over as Broken Matt Hardy, that it may take away a little bit from the Dark Order's evilness.
Hopefully,
but I still think it would fit like a glove. It would be perfect.
Hopefully it would go the other way and sort of add to it. But yeah people are going to cheer Matt Hardy, aren't they?
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, he seemed to confirm this as well. There's been various teasers of him potentially calling the Young Bucks on being the Elite. There was that little clip on Matt Hardy's YouTube channel where the Bucks arrived.
I think a photograph of him with, I think it was Scott D'Amore and a few people from Impact as well, though. Like, he just peppered a couple of things like that in.
You mentioned a tweet?
There was an AEW tweet where it read like a poem, but the first letter of every line spelled out Matt Hardy.
Well, speaking to you, Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated, Matt said, "My goal is to legitimately surprise people and draw emotion from them. I always want to entertain the audience and keep them guessing. I'll make a decision within the next 30 days, but it could be by next week. It all depends on how everything comes together. I am speaking with AEW, and I am very close with the Young Bucks, but I've also spoken with Impact, and I spoke with the NWA. I had great conversations just this week with Triple H about NXT, so I'm not sure where I'm going to go." Oh, I still think AEW is the front runner there.
Ring of Honor.
No, he's already done the Ring of Honor thing.
Fine, do it again.
Know. He was there with the Young Bucks.
It's fine. Now he doesn't have the pesky Young Bucks. He can just hold on to all the belts himself.
He can have another sweet feud with Bubba Ray Dudley.
Yeah.
No, I think that AEW is still very much the front runner, just given the social media activity surrounding it.
Yeah, given the buzz and given the size of the company as well, I think it makes sense because it's a company not on the same level but comparable to WWE.
Right.
In terms of its presentation, the fact that it has like a major TV deal.
Yeah.
But it's more of a work rate, do what you like style environment, which is, I guess, more in tune with, I say, like maybe the 90s, where it's just like, you get a promo, hit these points, hit that point, but don't script it. And I think it's a little bit more natural and a little bit more freedom creatively. So I think he would fit perfectly.
I think creative freedom seems to be his one of his top priorities as well. But yes, we'll see where he ends up in the next 30 days or by next week, whenever he makes that decision.
What would be the craziest one? If you could choose.
NXT would be pretty crazy if that's true.
It would be mental, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be absolutely insane. But
what if he just goes to New Japan as like a single star?
G1 Climax, Matt Hardy. No, but yeah, we'll keep you posted as and when more updates arrive. Next up, there's been a huge storyline recently regarding Randy Orton after he decimated Edge following his return at the Royal Rumble. Randy Orton has since targeted people such as Matt Hardy himself.
Yep.
Obviously, he has a very long history with Edge. And also recently on Raw, Edge's wife, Beth Phoenix, as well. He cut an amazing promo. She reacted superbly, and then he RKO'd her to end the show. Now, it all seems to be building towards Edge versus Randy Orton. Edge is going to come back and try and bravely defeat this man it's kind of similar to the Orton-Triple H feud from back in the day when Orton would target like the McMahons and people that Triple H was close to. It carries sort of shades of that.
Is Orton the guy whenever we have a big comeback that just gets sort of given that first reign, like good safe pair of hands, Randy, like always makes the most out of a feud?
It would make sense because he is very consistent in the ring. But Edge's next WWE appearance has been confirmed, which seems to also confirm that this storyline is the one that's going to head forwards into WrestleMania. Of course, that's not definite, but it seems to be the way they're going because WWE themselves have now confirmed that Edge will be appearing on this next week's episode of Monday Night Raw. And there are only 4 episodes of Raw left until WrestleMania, so I don't think there's enough time for them to bring Edge back and then shoehorn another man in there somehow.
So that's Raw after Chamber, so is he going to accidentally sneak into the Chamber again?
It just ends up in there.
I personally think, I can't remember whose pitch it was, it might be Adam's pitch on the Pitches video with him attacking Christian. I think that was genius, like on the pre-show.
On the pre-show,
And have the cameras cut away, and
Well, I wasn't certain whether, because that would be genius, and I agree with Adam on that pitch, but at the same time, I think that Christian could be the end game. He could come out at Mania. and either help Edge win or help save Edge after he's lost.
There's a downed ref when Christian just comes walking down that 500-meter ref in a chair.
Sauntering down.
The ref is just rolling around for 5 minutes while he's on his way.
Christian's taken time to salute all of the fans in like Captain Charisma way. Yeah,
he's went into the WWE archives. He's got those rings from the older WrestleManias video. He's just like driving down.
Oh, if that doesn't happen now, I'm going to be absolutely devastated. But yes, Edge will be appearing on next week's Monday Night Raw, and I can't wait because Orton has been brilliant in this feud so far. I don't know how good the match would be given Edge's time off and how well him and Randy would mesh together in 2020, but I guess
I imagine he's going to do a lot of like build up. I think it'll be one of those matches where it's like meticulously Macho Man planned.
Hopefully, yeah. Maybe with a stipulate, maybe a TLC. No,
a stipulation would ramp it right up.
I know,
every single spot near Edge's head. It's going to be like
I don't think
that entire match.
Hopefully they don't do that, but well, I mean it would be great, but hopefully they don't. But hopefully they don't.
Hopefully they do.
Next up, a new match has been added to the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view this Sunday. We've had a few matches, we've had several matches confirmed already, from the 2 Chamber matches, one for the SmackDown Tag Team titles, come on the Lucha House Party, and one for the shot at Becky Lynch's title at WrestleMania, which surely Shayna Baszler's going to win. But another match has been added, not a Chamber match this time, just a singles match, and it's Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak. Now, am I right in saying you're more familiar with SmackDown than me these days, but Gulak's been enlisting people to help take out Daniel Bryan, and it hasn't worked.
It's not so much enlisting. Okay. I think the crack is, because I've only seen about a third of this week's SmackDown, because obviously we jumped in to do news. So I haven't actually seen this week's segment yet, but in recent weeks, how it started was Gulak was backstage. It started the week before with Bryan and Slater, and Slater's like, man, like, I'm glad you're okay after the feat, just running his mouth. And Bryan actually gets annoyed and he's like, come on then, match. And it led to Gulak appearing, I think the week after, and he goes up to Bryan backstage and he's like, essentially saying, you're getting a little bit rusty, man. There's some holes in your game. I can help you. I've prepared a PowerPoint presentation for you. I can show you all these holes. And Bryan's like, no, I'm good. Why don't you give this guy all of your advice? Points, I think, against Slater. And then Slater actually took it straight to Bryan in the match. Like properly started laying it in. So Gulak's proven that he can pick I hate saying like bottom barrel, but he's proven that he can pick guys that never have a hope of beating Bryan. And he showed them these secrets, and they've managed to take Bryan to task.
That's cool. That's a cool storyline.
Yeah, I guess he's exposing Bryan's flaws, which I quite like.
That is really nice. Yeah. Well, I think if this match is given time on Sunday as well, Bryan versus Gulak, that is, I think it could be excellent because...
it's technical masterclass.
Yeah, exactly.
Just throw Zack Sabre Jr. in there and I would melt. I would just melt.
For those who don't know, Gulak has a background on the indies. He was in places like Evolve, and he was an awesome technician, and was in the stable Catch Point, which was all based on amateur wrestling and shoot style, everything like that. And also... I believe he used to be Soldier Ant in Chikara, and you telling me that story reminded me of an old Chikara storyline where there was a special submission, the Chikara special, which I think Quackenbush taught all the baby faces, but then one of them defected and then learned taught the heels the counter or something. It was all very very comic book, but very well done. I can't quite remember which way around it was, but one of the sides managed to get the secret from the other side, and it was really well done. And also the thing that made it good was it was a lower tier guy who did that, and it was they started beating these much bigger guys, and it was so maybe he's drawn a bit of inspiration from that for this storyline, I don't know. But Gulak has an incredible background, and if this is given time, it could really steal the show.
Well, it's going to be a slow burner. The way the matches have worked so far is that these secrets have allowed the guys to drive Bryan into the corner, but then they've got up on the ropes, or they've left the ring, and that's stuff that Gulak doesn't do. When he gets annoyed, he starts shouting. They might get
he's on commentary or
and then Bryan will start with the kicks, and then it'll just all go down from there. So I think Gulak has to push him right to the edge. And I maybe beat him. I don't know, because I'd like to see this feud go on, but I'm quite concerned they've just put it straight on the pay-per-view. Because this, given a lot of time, could be a timeless feud. It could be amazing.
It could be excellent, but it might also just be a stopgap for Bryan before.
And this is a big concern.
Well, it should be a good one anyway on Sunday, hopefully given enough time, but we'll see how it goes. I guess. Next up, we do have to issue a bit of a spoiler alert because this concerns the NXT UK tapings in Coventry last night, but it involved the debut or the first appearance in NXT UK of a major WWE main roster superstar, and that was none other than Finn Balor, currently in American NXT. Now, I don't know if it counts as a surprise appearance because he has been, of course, I mean, I'm sure the fans there were surprised to see him, but I think at some point he was going to end up featuring on NXT UK because they've been building towards this whole feud with Walter. Members of Imperium came over to the American NXT to call out Finn Balor, and he said on this week's, I believe, he said, Walter, you'll be seeing me sooner than you think, which may have been this may have been that reference. He took on Alexander Wolf in the main event, and it is surely building towards Balor versus Walter in Dublin for NXT UK TakeOver Dublin, with a raucous home country crowd for Finn Balor, you'd imagine anyway. I know, but if that match would have happened, could you see Balor taking that belt from Walter? Oh.
Yes.
Yeah. But then would Balor?
Yeah, because if he just pisses off to America with it,
right?
Like, and I get that NXT's a big family, so people can appear across both areas and eventually all 900 areas. But like the championship, should stay. So unless he's gonna stay there for a while,
right?
Like, yeah. It's hard, isn't it? I'd like to see him as UK champion.
It would be really cool. It would be a very fitting one as well. I know that he's Irish and not from the UK, but at the same time, he's always been regarded as somebody who came from the UK and Ireland scenes and has just taken over the world. He's become a huge star. So it would almost be like, and in Dublin as well.
At that point, do you just switch Balor for Walter for a couple of months?
I don't know.
Like send Walter to the US and Imperium to the US?
Maybe, yeah.
I know
what
do you all want? Let us know below.
Yes, it's opened up so many possibilities. We don't know what we want.
This is properly, dumbfounded me, this.
I thought that Dragunov was going to be the guy to take the belt from Walter.
Maybe he will be. Maybe this will end weirdly. Maybe Imperium will cost Balor.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know either. But if they do that, it'll surely be the main event. And if it is the main event and Balor doesn't win, then it's going to be a pretty raucous atmosphere.
It's going to be pretty flat.
But it might be angry. It might be an angry atmosphere, yeah.
We'll see.
And finally, let's head to the Wrestling Observer, where Brian Alvarez was talking on Wrestling Observer Live about a bit of a surprise that happened this week on Dynamite, which involved the main event. So if you watch Dynamite, you'll have seen that Jon Moxley was making his traditional entrance through the crowd for this main event tag team match alongside Darby Allin. But during his entrance, he was jumped by three masked men in the crowd who turned out to be Ortiz, Santana, and Jake Hager, who beat him down. And basically the main event became a 2-on-1 handicap match against Darby Allin, who lost. And then Moxley had recovered by this point, but got beaten down anyway at the end of the episode. Now, I think that this was effective, but when it happened, you could kind of just blatantly tell that one of them was Jake Hager at least, because he's like a 6'6" man in a match.
A giant.
But apparently AEW took certain steps to just fool even that tiny section of people in the crowd around that specific area, which is really cool to see. So Alvarez read an email from a fan which noted that AEW arranged 3 decoys to sit in the crowd throughout the entire show in Denver so that nobody would see the attack coming. The letter said, when Moxley made his entrance presumably this is a letter from somebody who was there.
Yeah.
When Moxley made his entrance at the beginning of the show, he walked past 3 men wearing masks in the same seats that would later be filled by Hager, Ortiz, and Santana when they jumped him at the end of the show. They had 3 guys sit there in masks all night just so they could work the small amount of people who would have noticed them showing up at the end of the show. That's really cool.
That's really cool.
I like that. Kayfabe's alive, son.
It stops that ripple happening when people discover halfway through the match.
Yeah.
Halfway through the
News spreads, yeah. Or a picture will go up on Twitter or something.
I like this. It's very old school.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I would have just preferred if Jake Hager was wearing a Jake Hager mask. Sting.
What, like his face over the top? I want to see that now so badly. But it was a big episode of Dynamite. Quite a heel-heavy one, quite a lot of heels one, but I guess because they're resetting all the storylines, they're starting a new cycle of storylines. Moxley got beaten down. MJF announced his intention to go for the #1 contendership, which I'm all for, because I want to see Moxley kick the piss out of him. I think that would be really fun.
That would be, enjoyable.
Yep. And also Neville has, of course, formed this new trio alongside Pentagon and Phoenix. Oh, Pac! Oh, you've done it again.
Disgusting.
Pac.
Disgusting.
Pac has started a new stable with Pentagon and Phoenix called Death Triangle.
Triangle.
As the other 2 members of the stable call it, Triangulo della Muerte, which sounds far cooler than Death Triangle. But,
I'm going to bring you into my Death Triangle and I'm going to proper have you in it.
So, that's all the news for today in the world of wrestling. Keep an eye out for Sam's SmackDown grader going up later today on the channel. And thanks very much for watching. Catch you in a bit. That'll be a nice one for the end, I suppose.